Soccer 605, we're visiting with Coach Brock Thompson of the Brookings FC. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about the background of the Brookings Futbol Club?
Yeah, technically it's a new organization. It came about of a consolidation between two soccer organizations, SRU, which was the competitive club in Brookings, and Brookings Soccer Association, which was the recreational soccer club. So what it is really a full-service soccer club that incorporates really age 5 on up, and a variety of different programs, recreational programs, competitive programs. Obviously right now it also facilitates our high school programs, and it's just kind of neat to be able to have all of the resources in one place, all of the players in one place, and really feel like we can meet the needs of all of those players, to the best of each one's ability.
So you said you start with age 5 and go all the way to U19, which is the youth side, correct?
Yeah, that's correct, and we're actually planning some adult stuff in the future, and so I think we'll be as an organizational standpoint, basically full service, boys and girls, men and women, educating players, and also training coaches.
And you go year-round with the competitive side, at least, don't you?
We do, and the nice thing about having everything together is you can set up programming that fits together. So often when you have recreational clubs and competitive clubs in the same place, they compete for players' time, they compete for programming space, they compete for facilities and for coaches, and we kind of ebb and flow a little bit because we find all the programs are important. We've kind of rebranded our rec program and called it league program. We've set up some really neat things for some of the older kids where they play 3v3 leagues in the fall, and so a lot of the training takes place year-round. But we've also incorporated some of the rec models into some of the league program, and that I think is really beneficial for all of our players.
And so, where do your coaches come from?
We've got a variety, and that's where I think Brookings is really, really fortunate. I think we've got two really parts of our club that are unique and different in the state. We've got a wonderful facility, and we've got wonderful coaches. The diversity of our coaching staff is really fantastic. We've got people in Brookings that have coached for a number of years that helped found soccer in Brookings. Mavu's an older boys coach that's done a fantastic job, and has always been there. But we also have an influx of some of the college players that are becoming coaches. We have some of our former players who have stuck around and are taking a little bit more of a leadership role. One of the neat things is we've had 3 coaches in the last 2 months go and get their Korver youth license, which is all about mastering the ball and technical ability and skills. And so, our job as a club is to educate coaches to properly educate players.
It's really been nice to see that resurgence of the Korver Skills, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got its place. It really does, and I think the best thing that we want to do with our coaches is give them a variety of tools to really develop and be able to train kids. And too often, and this is just kind of my feeling, is too often foot skills are neglected at a young age in order for team play. And players have to have the ability to break pressure and to dribble and to be able to solve problems individually first before you can combine the team aspect of things. And so that's a little bit of our technical model that we really stress is, we want all of our players to be comfortable on the ball, all of them to be able to get out of trouble by themselves. Certainly we hope that doesn't have to happen very often, but too often people start to focus on the other aspects of soccer, like combination play and possession, and develop players that are good passers and good possession players, but get caught in trouble and turn the ball over.
Yeah, well, and the tactical aspect has to come after the technical is developed, doesn't it?
It does, otherwise it just breaks down, and that's what I always encourage coaches to do is say, what are the tactics really giving you problems, or did the fact that, this was a bad pass technically lead to the problems that you're creating? And most of the time, even at many of the older ages, it really comes down to a technical problem. But it's more, you've got to put players in positions where the demands technically are game-like or even beyond game-like, and that's a hard situation to replicate. And it really takes players kind of committing to the training aspect of the game versus the playing aspect of the game to break down that barrier.
I've heard many coaches say you don't have to be at practice to practice.
You got that right, and and I'll also take it one step further and say, it's not how often you practice, but how you practice. It's even more critical. Everybody talks about how much you can do with the ball on the wall, and I 100% believe that. But you can also do a lot of damage to your technique if you're not doing the right stuff at the wall. And so it's both. And so hopefully we create an environment where our players are becoming good self-trainers, but they're also, diligent and disciplined in how to train proper technique versus just spending time with the ball.
Well, practice makes perfect, whether that perfect is bad or good. So tell us a little bit, Coach, about your typical players that play for Brookings FC. Are they mostly from Brookings? Do you have them from surrounding areas?
Yeah, we've been able to draw a little bit from the surrounding areas. We've had players from Watertown in our club, Madison, Elkton, Volga. So we're still a little bit of a community-based club, but we've reached out a little bit more. Our numbers have continued to grow each year. We're on the verge of having 3 or 4 U10 boys teams this summer, which is fantastic for a size of Brookings size and that. And so it's been pretty neat to see how it's kind of gone and grown. And my philosophy is if you teach the right things, people are going to want to come and their friends are going to want to come.
Well, I think that you'll see that's true about anywhere. So if a player is moving into Brookings, or maybe they're just considering starting to play soccer, what should they do?
Yeah, brookingsfc.com. It's a new website. It's a full-service website. All our registration information's on there. Our competitive program is training-based, meaning for the full program, which is 34 training sessions from really late fall through summer, it's $125. We prorate that on the back end. So if you move into Brookings today and your group's already had 10 training sessions, you actually get a credit and you don't even have to pay the full $125. So we're very fortunate. We've got a very, very good sponsorship program. We've got many community members that have helped us be able to keep our costs low and be able to provide quality coaching. So that's the competitive aspect of things. We offer leagues year-round. We'll have a high school indoor league that will be going this winter, so sign up. So we'll be starting with that soon. We'll have a spring league and a fall league, and so players can enter 1 or 2 of those programs, or they can enter all of them.
Now, speaking of indoor, where do you play indoor leagues at, and do you have any indoor tournaments this winter?
We do. We'll have our first one, which will be the Cubbies Futsal event. That's President's Weekend in February. We're doing kind of a neat thing with that event. We're having SDSU is going to have a model training session at that event. So we're gonna pause the tournament and just expose the players, fans, and coaches to a college training session. Everybody gets a chance sometimes to see college games, but I think it's important to see how college players train. And then we'll do a little mini coaches meeting with that afterwards. And so that'll be President's Weekend. We have a facility called the 5th Street Gym. It's a rubberized surface floor. And then we've been fortunate enough with a partnership with the Boys and Girls Club that they've opened up their facility for us to be able to do some training in as well.
So that's futsal. Are you going to be playing off the walls?
No, it's just futsal, so it'll be on a court. It'll be kick-ins. It'll be with a deadweight ball and futsal-sized goals.
Well, that coach's training session, the college training session, that's exciting news. I think people will really enjoy that.
It is, and it's gone over really well. And like I said, it's not going to be a lot, but we're going to pause the tournament probably on Saturday and just let SDSU train for that time period, and and then talk to the coaches about why we're training these things. Some ideas, some key coaching points that from a staff we seem as important and really valuable for young players to know of, and then kick the tournament back up again.
Great idea. Now, and speaking of facilities, you have a beautiful complex there, Fishback Soccer Complex. That's been up for, at least 10 years, I think now. And it also gives you the opportunity to host some nice tournaments. Can you tell us about some of those tournaments that you guys do?
Yeah, we do the Fishback tournament, which will happen in July. We are actually looking at trying to expand some of that, looking at maybe having an event in the fall that for the U10 through U14 age groups. We've been really fortunate to get some really neat events. We've hosted MRL games. We've hosted the high school state tournament there in the past. We've hosted USSF has hosted a C course there. And so really, from an organizational standpoint, anytime you have a facility that's a little bit of a destination for that level of soccer, it's great. And the city does a wonderful job, and we're just trying to use it to the best of our ability and make sure that it stays in the condition that it is.
Well, and we've had the pleasure of being there for some of the Midwest Regional League games that were held there. We were there for the Summit League Championships this year. Having the university there and the college women's soccer team and that beautiful stadium field has got to be a good advantage for Brookings FC. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the other things that you do with Brookings FC and SDSU women, in addition to what you'll be doing at the indoor tournament?
Yeah, basically I would say if you could sum up Brookings community is there's a fantastic relationship between the community and SDSU. Our players get very involved hosting clinics. We host a passback clinic every year. We're at the grade schools. Many of our players volunteer to coach and stuff like that. And so, but I want to make sure that everybody knows that that's not. They don't view that as giving as much as it is, the community is giving to our players. Our players are humbled by the opportunity to be involved in community soccer in Brookings. It's helped them grow and mature. It's made them better players. It's made them grateful for the opportunity that SDSU has given them, and so it's a really wonderful two-way street. As a player and a coach at SDSU, we give, but it's just a small amount compared to what we get back in return.
And you are in a unique position to be able to help facilitate that two-way street, being an assistant coach at SDSU as well as the DOC for Brookings FC.
Yeah, and now we've got Lang, the head coach. He coaches the U10 boys for Brookings FC. Myself as the technical director. Our volunteer coach, Aaron Kazmarek, is the senior director. We've got numerous players. Kaylee Costello's coaching a boys team. Krista Nybelum's coaching a girls team. Megan Higley's coaching a girls team. Former players Kelly Herman and Corey Bonte are coaching, and so it's not a one or two person thing, and it's been a wonderful partnership, and it's just and I want to make sure that. I'm grateful for all of those opportunities, but there's also so many more people a part of Brookings FC other than the SDSU folks. Nathan Treidel, David Kuhl, fantastic coaches that have been with the club for a long time in the high school programs, and so it's just wonderful to kind of marry those two soccer organizations together, and we really feel comfortable. We really feel like we have a real comfortable, tight-knit soccer community in Brookings, and that's multifaceted. There's college programs to 5-year-olds playing, and we're all on the same team, and we're all in the same organization.
And that's really wonderful to be able to build that kind of a soccer culture in Brookings. Well, I know a lot of the folks that you mentioned have been there since before SDSU had a women's team.
Yep, and that's and that's where I'm just grateful to be able to serve them and humbled that their continual time to give and give and give. The coaches get a lot of recognition. There's hundreds of administrators and volunteers behind the scenes that have been there much longer than myself and anything to do with SDSU soccer. And so all of those people certainly have put time, energy, effort, sweat towards building soccer and building the complex and building the club and all of those things.
Well, appreciate you taking some time to visit with us, Coach Thompson. And one more time, if you're a player or a coach or a parent interested in getting involved with Brookings soccer, where do they need to go?
Yep, it's brookingsfc.com. Everything's there. If you can't find what you're looking for, my email address is on there too. That's technicaldirector@brookingsfc.com. If you're having troubles with that, just let me know, and I'll make sure that your question gets to the right person. We'd love to have you involved, either as a player, a coach, a volunteer, however you want to be involved in the soccer community. We'll welcome you with open arms.
Fans welcome too, I imagine.
Always, always.
All right, thanks again, Coach Thompson. I know you have a team you need to go coach here at this indoor tournament at this beautiful Sanford complex here in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.